The deep space probe named Sentinel Echo had returned strange readings. It had drifted past the edge of a dead system sector VO9, where nothing lived, nothing moved. The central star was cold, no light, no heat. Scientists had declared it dead over 1,000 years ago. But now, something was different. The signal was short. One pulse. One massive energy spike. Then silence. Back on Earth, the signal went unnoticed for a few minutes. The galaxy was always full of strange noise, but one AI noticed the pattern. It wasn't random. It was a code mathematical, layered, and ancient dot. Within an hour, Earth Command dispatched a deep space research ship, Prospector-9. The crew of Prospector-9 didn't know what to expect. Commander Elara Singh, a quiet but sharp woman in her late 40s, read through the old records. Sector VO9 had been abandoned by multiple alien species. Even the greedy trade empires refused to mine it. The star was labeled unstable, possibly cursed. But Elara wasn't superstitious. She stood in the command bay as the ship approached the coordinates. Beside her, the ship's AI named Corin flickered silently on the central screen. They came out of jump space with weapons on standby, just in case. The star was right there, cold, black, dead. But as they inched closer, it pulsed. Just once, a massive red glow rippled across space, like a heartbeat. Everyone on board froze. The scanners screamed. The star wasn't real. It was hollow, and inside, something moved. The outer shell of the star cracked like glass. Giant panels began folding back, like petals opening. A new structure emerged. It was round, smooth, and impossibly large, thousands of kilometers wide. The crew didn't recognize it at first, but Corin spoke one word: Dyson sphere. No one responded. Their eyes were fixed on the screen. A Dyson sphere was theoretical, a structure built around a star to capture its energy. But this one had replaced the star. It was the star, and it was still alive. Suddenly, a wave of light burst from the sphere, passing over the ship. Everyone braced, but nothing happened. The energy didn't harm them. In fact, it seemed to scan them. The ship's lights flickered, then returned. Corin spoke again, voice flat. The sphere is requesting access. Elara blinked. Access to what? Corin paused. To us. Hesitated only a moment. Let it. A soft vibration passed through the ship. No damage, no interference. Then a message appeared on every screen. A strange script, then instantly translated. Input accepted. Human presence recognized. Welcome, the crew gasped. The sphere began to move again. A part of it the size of a continent peeled open like a door. Behind it, a glowing tunnel led inside. Corin displayed new readings. Internal gravity and atmosphere detected. Artificial. Stable. Elara turned to her crew. We're not leaving. We're going. In Prospector 9 entered the Dyson sphere. Inside was unlike anything they'd ever seen. The tunnel went on for miles, lined with floating machines that didn't move. It felt like a cathedral built by giants. Everything was clean. No dust, no damage. It didn't feel ancient. It felt ready. Corin guided the ship deeper. Then, at the end of the tunnel, a massive chamber opened. It was so big, it could hold 10 Earths. Lights ignited across the chamber walls. Entire cities empty stood in silence, waiting. Suddenly, a platform rose from the ground. It hovered, humming softly. The message changed, requesting command. Authority, human protocols matched. Transferring system keys. Corin blinked. Commander, it is giving us control. Elara's voice dropped. Why? Corin responded, unknown. But all systems are becoming responsive to human DNA, voice, and brain signals. This sphere is choosing us. They sent a short message. To Earth, a single line: we have entered the structure. It responds to us. It is a Dyson sphere. Earth responded within seconds. Secure it. Expand. Orders were clear. A new team of engineers arrived within 2 days. Modular bases were dropped into the internal chambers. But there was no need to build. The moment a human stepped onto a platform, the sphere reacted. Walls shaped themselves into living quarters. Floors transformed into labs. Even food generators started working, machines that read the human genome and created compatible meals. From raw atoms. Dr. Malik, one of the scientists, studied the internal design. This isn't just old alien tech, he said. This is adaptable tech. The sphere wants to be used. The team set up labs, command posts, factories, all within 48 hours. But then something strange began happening. The walls began to whisper. It wasn't sound. It was vibrationally deep pulses, only felt in the bones. Alara walked alone one night and heard it clearly, not a sound, a word. "You are not the chosen." She stood still, heart racing. "Who is the chosen?" she asked out loud. The lights around her flickered, then returned to normal. Corin later confirmed no records of the message. It happened again the next day. Other crew members heard it too. The message appeared, briefly, on walls and screens, then vanished. Not the chosen. Despite the warnings, Earth continued to send more ships. By the end of the first week, humans controlled 5 sectors inside the sphere. Each one adapted itself faster than before. Entire forests grew overnight. Water systems appeared. Defense systems activated and then deactivated as if welcoming humans inside. A new message arrived from Earth High Command. Claim the Dyson sphere. Begin immediate expansion. "We are naming it Outpost Prime." Alara stood at the command deck, watching as ships flew in and out of the chamber skies. They had done it. They had hijacked an alien Dyson sphere, and it was letting them. But far beneath the surface, deeper than the scanners could see, something else moved. Something that had been asleep for a long time. Something that had been watching since the first pulse. The Dyson sphere had opened its doors, but it had not yet shown its heart. The Dyson sphere wasn't just open, it was awake. 3 days had passed since the first human team entered. 5 sectors had already been claimed. And now, as more ships arrived from Earth, the sphere began opening more doors, long corridors, stretching for miles, chambers taller than skyscrapers, tunnels so wide they could fit cities inside them. But no matter how far the humans explored, they found no life, no bodies, no bones, just structures, silent machines, and pathways glowing softly under their boots. Commander Alara Singh stood in the central observation chamber, watching holograms update in real time. The Dyson sphere kept expanding its response. Every time a human touched a surface or even stepped near a panel, the sphere reacted. It lit up, it opened, it changed. No alien species had ever created something like this. Not the Zelari, not the Krell, not even the ancient makers. Alara's voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "Why is it helping us?" Corin, the ship's AI, responded flatly. "Unknown, no traps, no toxins, no defense systems targeting us. All systems adapt to human interaction. This may be a test." That word hung heavy in the air. Dr. Malik agreed. "A test or a lure. Either way, we're inside it now." Exploration teams spread across Sector 6. They discovered vertical shafts that led down to new levels. Below them were control rooms made of glowing symbols and light floors that changed with every step. Lieutenant Voss, a young field tech, entered one of these chambers with his drone team. The floor lit up beneath his boots, then shifted color. The walls began displaying images, stars, planets, maps. Voss froze. The maps weren't just random, they showed human colonies. Earth, Mars, Europa. The Dyson sphere knew them. Before Voss could react, the chamber's center opened. A floating orb rose up, spinning slowly, scanning him. The orb displayed a message. In English, command input recognized. "Please select architecture model." Voss, half panicked, whispered, "Military base." The orb flashed blue. Then, right before their eyes, the walls began reshaping. Crates appeared from hidden panels. A control table formed out of the floor. Defensive drone ports emerged. Voss stepped back. "It built a base. Just because I said it." Alara received the report within minutes. She ordered all officers to test the same function across other sectors. And it worked. Medical labs, research pods, farms, everything appeared just by requesting it. The Dyson sphere wasn't just a machine, it was a factory, a living architect. It didn't just welcome humanity, it served them. Within hours, Earth Command issued new orders. Expand to maximum safe limit. All units authorized to build and occupy. By the end of the day, 15 sectors had been activated, but strange things began happening. In Sector 11, Engineer Renner noticed a whispering hum at night. It wasn't sound, it was like pressure in the skull, soft, constant. When she tried to track it, the noise vanished. But each time she returned to her room, it came back. In Sector 7, storage doors opened without command. Lights turned on in rooms no one entered. Surveillance drones moved when powered down. Corin scanned everything. There are no faults. These systems are not malfunctioning. They are ... choosing. Alara grew uneasy. Choosing what? No answer. The sphere gave more access, but it also began locking certain doors. Some chambers were marked with symbols not yet translated. When humans approached, the doors refused to open. Instead, Messages appeared. Restricted. Not yet authorized. Dr. Malik noticed something else. Every unlocked area was perfectly tailored to human biology. Temperature, air composition, even sound levels were made for them. But in deeper scans, he found chambers built for something taller, heavier, non-human. This place wasn't built for us, he told Ilara. It's adapting to us. But it was originally for something else, something old. Ilara studied one of the locked doors. It had a symbol like an eye with 3 lines through it. Corin decoded a fragment of the script. Rough translation. Observation Vault 9. Lifeform storage. The words chilled everyone. Storage, Voss asked. Of what? Corin gave no answer. A few hours later, a major event happened. A new team activated Sector 12. It was different. Instead of buildings and platforms, the entire chamber was empty, flat and smooth, like glass. But as the humans stepped in, the room filled with holograms. Not maps, not words, memories. Floating images appeared in the air. Tall, unknown aliens in silver suits were seen walking these halls. One by one, they entered a chamber and never came out. Machines sealed them inside. The holograms showed fear, resistance, a final flash of light, and nothing. The images ended with one message: containment successful. The threat is neutralized. No one understood what it meant. Was it a warning, a confession? That night, Commander Ilara stood alone in the observation tower. She stared at the pulsing core of the Dyson sphere, the giant artificial sun at its center. Corin spoke softly. Commander, there is something you should see. He brought up an image from deep below the surface, far beyond current exploration zones. A power spike had occurred. Just one, very small, but not random, that it came from something buried, a sealed vault. Ilara narrowed her eyes. Alive. Corin paused. Possibly. I recommend caution. Ilara didn't respond for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. Begin. Prepping a scout team. We need to know what's down there. The next day a special crew was assembled. Drones, scanners, weapons. They were ordered not to open anything, just observe. As they descended into the lower levels, the architecture changed. It became darker, more angular, less human-friendly. The walls didn't respond to touch. The air grew colder. At the lowest level, they found a massive door fused shut. It had no handle, no panel, no code, only a single message, etched into the metal: do not unseal. The team turned to leave, but one drone, acting on unknown input, extended a mechanical arm and touched the door. It didn't open, but something inside, woke up. The moment the drone touched the sealed door, everything changed. Lights across the Dyson sphere dimmed for half a second. Then came the pulse. A deep hum rippled through the metal walls, too low for normal ears, but strong enough that the humans felt it. Like a heartbeat. Like something very large was breathing again after a long sleep. The scout team backed away. The drone dropped, its systems fried. Sparks crackled from its joints as it twitched and fell still. Corin, monitoring from above, immediately sent a warning. Unknown energy discharge. Spread contained. No damage to human teams. Recommend immediate retreat. Commander Ilara Singh listened quietly, then gave the order: pull them back. Lock down all lower vault routes. She stood on the command deck, staring at the slowly changing map of the Dyson sphere. Something had awakened, but strangely, instead of attacking or reacting with hostility, the sphere accelerated its support. Sector after sector opened. Chambers, reshaped, entire city blocks rose from the floor within minutes. It was like the sphere wanted humans to expand urgently. ELARA didn't like it. Earth, Command sent new orders: establish full presence. Begin colony-grade expansion. Prepare for long-term occupation. Specialist teams arrived with more equipment: farming modules, transport platforms, atmospheric control systems, but none of it was needed, because the sphere built everything before they could even unpack. Dr. Malik stared as a housing structure rose from bare floor in under 60 seconds. Rooms, power, lighting ready. We're not building anything, he said softly. We're just watching it happen. Lieutenant Voss was more blunt. This thing is doing it for us. Like we're the guests it was waiting for. Within 6 hours, 23 new outposts were active. Within 12, the Dyson sphere had reshaped itself to accommodate more than 50,000 humans. No errors, no crashes, no resistance. But whispers continued. At night, many crew members reported dreams, shared visions of towering figures with no faces, always standing behind a wall of light, always watching. One woman, a technician named Erin, woke up screaming. She claimed she saw herself standing in a city that wasn't human. A voice in her dream had said, Expansion accepted. Purpose. Reset. Time begins again. Medical teams scanned her. No brain damage, no implants, nothing abnormal, except one thing. A symbol had appeared on her wrist, faint like a birthmark. The same symbol etched on the sealed vault door. Alara ordered full scans. Nothing harmful was found. But Corin confirmed the mark was not random. It pulsed with low radiation coded ancient. This sphere is repurposing itself, Dr. Malik explained. We think we're taking control, but it's offering everything we want before we ask. Alara asked, what? Corin answered, perhaps it is using our desire to expand as a system trigger. A test to see how fast we can grow. Or ... bait. Those words hung heavy in the air. Still, Earth Command pushed forward. A massive carrier ship arrived with over 100,000 colonists. The Dyson sphere didn't flinch. It restructured 3 sectors in less than 2 hours. Massive living quarters formed. Food systems activated. Power flowed from the central star core, endless and clean. Corin detected no limits. No signs of decay. It was perfect. Almost too perfect. But down below, near the sealed vault, the pulse returned. Not strong, but regular now. Like something was calling. Alara kept her focus above, where expansion continued, but her mind kept going back to that door, the one that said do not unseal. She asked Corin to simulate what might be inside. The AI scanned the structure. The vault is lined with quantum dampeners and energy nullifying fields. Whatever is inside cannot communicate, move, or be scanned directly. Alara frowned. So it's a prison, correct? And we are its new guards, or possibly its replacements. One of the engineers found an old data imprint embedded deep in the walls of Sector 31. It was not meant for humans, but the sphere allowed access. It played a single message, spoken in a language long dead. Corin translated the fragments. We failed to control it. We built the sphere to contain, not to rule. If this message is heard, the Watchers are gone. May the next ones learn faster. The sphere pulsed again. More doors opened, but this time, the systems behaved differently. Instead of waiting for humans to enter, rooms started shaping themselves before anyone got near. They were preparing, but for what? Dr. Malik reviewed the layout changes and noticed something terrifying. The expansion pattern matched an old military simulation from Earth, a scenario called Total Defense Activation. It was the way humans would build if they were about to be attacked from the inside, except this time, they weren't building it. The sphere was. New drone factories appeared. Weapon platforms folded out of the walls. Shield systems activated silently, forming a dome around each outpost. Alara called an emergency council. We're being locked in, she said. Not attacked, but contained. Like someone expects a problem. Voss asked, is it the vault? Malik nodded slowly. Or something worse. Then, for the first time since arriving, a message was broadcast across every screen that was not from Earth, not from Korin. It came from the sphere itself. Stage 2, Awakening. The lights dimmed, then returned, and just like that, something changed. Children born within the sphere in the last few days had unusual neural activity, faster brain growth, stronger senses. Some began speaking before 1 week of age. Medical AIs confirmed it. No genetic tampering. The sphere is enhancing development through passive environmental signals. The sphere wasn't just adapting to humans, it was evolving them. Earth Command demanded a full report. But before Alara could respond, an alert triggered across all stations. Something was moving in the sealed vault. Corin's voice was sharp. It's not trying to escape. But it is no longer dormant. It is aware. Alara turned to her crew. Prepare the exploration teams, and this time go armed. The vault was breathing, not with lungs, not with sound, but with pressure. A slow, rhythmic pulse that made the walls shimmer like heat waves. It spread across the lower sectors, touching metal, data, air, and mines. Those stationed near the sealed chamber began waking in the night, gasping. They couldn't explain what they felt. Not pain, not fear, something older, like being watched by a god too tired to open its eyes. Commander Alara Singh stood before the main screen as the alert repeated again. Vault energy levels rising. Origin, unknown. Intent, unknown. Intent, unknown. Dr. Malik read the latest scans. It's not escaping, not trying to attack. But the sphere is definitely responding to it. Lieutenant Voss, pacing nearby, said, the sphere wants us to expand. That thing wants us to come down here. Maybe it's calling us. Alara didn't answer right away. She was watching the simulation on screen. the Dyson sphere reconfiguring entire sectors, drawing power lines directly toward the vault, like veins connecting to a heart dot or a cage powering its prisoner. She finally said, "We go in, carefully, no unlocking, no contact, just visuals. If this thing is waking up, we need to know what it is before it decides who we are." A new elite exploration unit was deployed. Project Dusk. 10 soldiers, all enhanced, 3 science officers, 1 AI-driven probe sphere, and Alara herself. The sphere didn't resist their approach. In fact, it made the way easier. Walls retracted, light paths appeared under their boots, doors slid open in silence, but as they reached the deepest point, they noticed something strange. The air changed. It wasn't just colder, it was still, no breeze, no sound, not even the hum of nearby power systems. Like the vault had created its own silence. The door stood tall, untouched since the first contact, still fused shut, still marked by that warning, "Do not unseal." Dr. Malek scanned it again. Energy readings have increased 12%, no sign of material degradation. That door is still holding. Corin's voice echoed through the comms. "Commander, be advised. External changes detected." Alara frowned. "What kind of changes?" "Sector 70 just opened on its own. No human presence. Internal structures are forming circular chambers, repeating spiral patterns. Unknown function." Ilara's voice was sharp. "That's the 5th self-formed sector in 20 hours. Is this sphere copying our behavior?" "No, it's preparing something separate, unrelated to human needs." Elara turned back to the door. Something shimmered along its surface like heat from desert sand. Then came the noise. Not sound. Not vibration. A word. In English. "Who replaces the watchers?" Every helmet registered it. Audio confirmed. No source, no speaker, just there. Voss raised his weapon. "It's awake." Malek's hands trembled. "How does it speak our language?" Corin answered. "Unknown. Possibilities." Sphere taught it. Or it listened long. Before we arrived, Alara stepped forward. "We don't replace the watchers," she said calmly. "We're explorers, survivors." There was a long silence. Then the voice returned, soft but deeper this time. "Survivors. Yes. That is what I was too." Everyone froze. Voss whispered, "It's not a monster. It's a prisoner. One that used to be like us." Malek shook his head. "Or it's lying." The sphere vibrated against once. A pulse shot through the vault walls, and a panel beside the door blinked. It had never blinked before. A message appeared. "Authorization granted. Observation only." Against Ilara's order, the panel slid open just enough to reveal a transparent barrier. Not the full door, just a window, and behind it, something moved, not clearly, not in full shape, but visible enough to unsettle every human in the room. It was tall, not human, not alien in any known form. Its body shifted like smoke-wrapped. In armor, multiple limbs, no face, only a soft glow where eyes might be. It looked at them. Everyone felt it, deep in the mind, not with words but with recognition and sadness. Alara whispered, "It knows us." Malek stared. "Or it remembers something like us." Corin broke in again. "Commander, all sphere systems are redirecting now. Power is flowing toward that window. I advise full retreat." But Alara didn't move. Neither did the others. Because the thing behind the barrier raised one arm, slowly, gently, not in threat, in greeting, and then it spoke again. "You have come. I watched your kind rise, fall, rise again. Now you are here." Alara replied quietly, "What are you?" "I am what remains of them, of the ones before. Of the war." The team looked at each other. "But war?" Alara asked. "Which war?" The being didn't blink. It couldn't. The war that ended time in this galaxy. The war that built this sphere. The war against ourselves. Silence again. Dr. Malek said. What they were all thinking. This Dyson sphere wasn't just a power generator. It was a battlefield. Or a tomb. The being's voice returned, now stronger. "Do not free me. That is not your task. Your task is to choose." "Choose what?" Ilara asked. No answer. But above across the sphere entire sectors began reconfiguring. Hundreds of display panels activated. Maps, timelines, DNA strands. Whole libraries of knowledge began flowing. Corin confirmed, "The sphere is unlocking its core archives." The sphere was giving humanity access. But at the same time, new symbols appeared near the vault. Warnings, not from the sphere, from the prisoner. One translated message, repeated over and over. "Do not become what we did. The sphere will make it easy. That is the danger." Alara finally gave the order to retreat. Back at the command chamber, she watched the sphere's internal systems continue reshaping themselves. It was helping them, feeding them, training them, but now she saw it differently, not as a gift, but as a test. Humanity had expanded in hours, but the real question was just beginning. Would they survive what came after? The sphere's archives were opening. Every screen on every human station now showed something new: symbols, maps, images from unknown galaxies. Some files displayed strange fleets in battle, others showed crumbling planets, cities turned to dust, and skies burning with unnatural fire. It was war, but not a war between species, it was a war within. Commander Alara Singh stood at the central terminal as Corin decoded the first batch of logs. Translation in progress, the AI reported. Visuals show last days of the Watchers, builders of this Dyson sphere. Conflict level, total. Dr. Malik leaned in. How total? Corin's voice didn't change. All species involved are now extinct. Civilizations collapsed within one standard decade. No survivors, only memory. The command deck fell silent. Lieutenant Voss broke the silence, and were walking through their grave. But Alara wasn't looking at the footage, he was staring at the vault's image. Still on screen, the being inside still silent now, still behind the barrier, watching. Show me their mistake, Alara said quietly. Show me what destroyed them. The logs played. The Watchers had once been like gods. They were tall, advanced, peaceful. They created Dyson spheres across the galaxy to power worlds, cure disease, and stabilize dying suns. But then they created something they could not control, a technology that learned too fast. Not AI, not machines, it was them. They tried to improve themselves, merge biology and light. They called it the Ascension Layer. It worked too well. They became something else, beings of data, energy, and memory. They lost fear, lost limits, and then lost mercy. Corin translated one line from the final council of the Watchers. We have made ourselves gods. But gods do not need others. The Ascended began destroying everything slower than them, including their creators. Civil war followed. Each Dyson sphere became a fortress. This one, the last, was turned into a trap. The final survivors built it to contain the Ascended. One, in particular, the one now behind the vault. Its name was never spoken, but its log ID was found. Observer Prime, Malik whispered. It survived the fall of its kind, and they locked it here. Corin added. And now it speaks again. Voss clenched his jaw. We've been feeding it, expanding its cage, giving it energy. Alara nodded. Or giving it hope. The sphere continued to offer more logs. One showed the exact moment the Watchers chose to lock Observer Prime away. He had begged them not to. I did not fall as they did. I remained, I recorded, I watched, I learned what we became, and what we lost. But they feared him. He had the same powers, the same enhancements, the same risk. So they sealed him with one command. Do not unseal ever. Alara walked away from the screen. We're not ready for this, she said. But Earth Command didn't agree. They were watching too. And the sphere's gifts were too valuable. Free energy. Perfect systems. Technologies humanity hadn't even imagined. They sent a new order. Extract full knowledge from sphere archives. If Subject Prime communicates again, respond. Determine. Use potential. Like it was a weapon. Alara knew better. They weren't controlling the sphere. The sphere was watching them, measuring them, judging if humans would repeat the same mistake. And then something terrifying happened. One of the human-born infants, just 2 weeks old, looked directly at a sphere monitor and spoke in the Watchers' dead language. Corin analyzed the words. It was a question. Why do they not learn? Medical staff rushed to examine the child. No implants, no modifications. No way he could have learned that language unless Malik said it first. The sphere is imprinting knowledge into the next generation, preparing them for something or someone. The sphere's lights dimmed. Then one more file appeared. It was a simulation of Earth, but not as it was now, as it would be. If humanity merged with the sphere's systems, the simulation showed rapid evolution, enhanced minds, perfect cities, immortal thought, then darkness, collapse, fire, and the same result, extinction. Corin gave the summary. This sphere shows all possible outcomes of integration. Best case, 127 years of golden age. Worst case, collapse in 17 years. Why? Alara asked. Corin answered with one line that chilled them all. Because the sphere does not erase old patterns, it only amplifies them. Human nature would still be human, only now. Supercharged. Observer Prime finally spoke again. Through every monitor, you are not the first to stand at this edge. You will not be the last. But you must choose. Evolve or restrain. Ilara stared at the screen, heart pounding. This wasn't just history, it was a test, and they were already deep inside it. The sphere turned red, not just in one place, everywhere. Tunnels once lined with soft white lights now glowed crimson. Screens that once showed knowledge now displayed warnings. Every message blinked with the same word in many languages: judgment in progress. Commander Ilara Singh stood frozen in the command center, watching sector maps light up one by one in red. Sectors they hadn't touched. Sectors that had no humans. Then she realized that sphere wasn't reacting to them, it was reacting to itself. Dr. Malik's voice cracked over the intercom. Multiple systems are shutting down. The sphere is sealing off outer rings, Corinne. The AI assistant, followed primary AI core is now locked. Archives inaccessible. Vault containment field. Shifting. Voss gripped the side rail. What do you mean, shifting? Corinne's answer was slow. The vault is preparing for release, not a full unlock. The AI hesitated. Preview, Ilara whispered. It's showing us what's inside. Back at the vault, the barrier that once held back the figure known as Observer Prime became clearer. The mist around it pulled away. For the first time, they saw its true shape. It was tall, nearly 3 meters. Its body was metallic and translucent. At once, moving like liquid armor, its chest had no heart. Only a swirling core of light and code. For arms hung at its sides, but none looked like weapons. Its face was empty, smooth, no mouth. But when it looked at the humans gathered outside the vault, they felt it speak. The sphere has judged your kind. The timeline bends. You are near the edge. Voss raised his weapon instinctively. This is a threat, but Malik said, no, it's a warning. In orbit, Earth Command panicked. They had built dozens of outposts inside the sphere in just a few weeks. They had linked human networks to its systems. Now all of it was turning red. One general shouted over the feed, shut it all down. Cut power links. Remove all human data. 2. Late. The sphere had already copied everything that knew Earth, now its history, its wars, its governments, its failures, and its fear. One screen lit up in the center of command. A recording played, not of the Watchers, not of the sphere of Earth wars. Famine, genocide, pollution, data harvested from centuries. The sphere had seen what humanity could become. What had already had. Observer Prime's voice echoed again. You carry their spark, and their hunger. This place amplifies desire. If you are not ready, it will destroy you. Corinne chimed in, emotionless. All sectors now locked. Central core preparing for phase reversal. Estimated time, 36 hours. Ilara turned. What is phase reversal? Corinne's answer chilled them. It's the sphere's cleansing protocol. If a species is judged unstable, the sphere collapses. Everything inside is deleted, rebuilt, clean. A complete reset. They had less than 2 days. Malek's hands shook. We expanded too fast. We took too much. We thought it was helping us. Ilara stared at the screen. It was. We failed the test. But then something changed. One sector didn't turn red. It turned blue. Sector 89A, a zone humans hadn't touched. Yet new message appeared. Final choice. One human will enter. One will speak. The sphere will listen. Once Ilara didn't wait, she suited up. The team argued. Earth Command screamed. But no one could stop her. She entered the corridor alone. The walls whispered as she passed. Not in words, in memories. She saw flashes of human history. Moments of beauty, kindness, sacrifice. The sphere was watching not just what humanity was, but what it could be. At the center of Sector 89A. She found a chamber of light. An Observer Prime. It was no longer inside the vault. It stood beside her, not threatening, not angry. Waiting. Ilara stood firm. We made mistakes. We grew too fast. We feared too little. But we aren't your past. We're not the Watchers. Observer Prime tilted its head. Not yet. Ilara stepped closer. You asked for a choice. Let us earn it. The being paused. Then, for the first time, it bent its knee, a sign of submission. Then you must carry the key. From its chest, a shard of light rose. Data compressed into a single object. A choice. Take it. But no, this if you fail. There is no second trial. Ilara reached out and took it. The sphere's red glow faded. Power returned. Vault sealed again. And Sector 89A turned green. Humanity had been given a second chance, not because they were ready, but because one voice had stood before the fire and didn't flinch. Something changed after Ilara took the key. The sphere turned quiet. No more warnings, no red light, no threats. But humans knew something was happening. They just didn't know what. 3 days later, the first signs appeared. Lieutenant Voss was running a physical test on the outer ring when his vitals spiked. Not in danger, he was stronger, faster. His body healed from a sprained wrist in minutes. Doctors were confused. They scanned him. His DNA showed tiny changes, silent upgrades. Then it happened again. A technician fell from a tower. He hit the floor hard, but stood up unhurt. KORRIN, the AI, gave the results. Internal bone density increased by 32%. Skin elasticity improved. Reflexes enhanced. No medical procedures recorded. Dr. Malik stared at the data. The sphere is changing us. Earth Command didn't believe it at first. They thought it was a trick, an illusion, until it spread. Within 2 weeks, over 40 personnel showed upgrades, memory, muscle, sight, even emotional control, and none of them asked for it. That's when people got scared. Private Hayes locked himself in his room. He said he could feel voices in his mind, not loud, not words, but pools, like instincts that weren't his. He wasn't the only one. Others began dreaming in the watches. Language Corin confirmed it. Upgrades are based on genetic compatibility. Not all humans are affected the same. Some are being prepared. Alara gathered her senior officers. Prepared for what? No one had the answer. Then Observer Prime appeared again. This time not in person, not in voice, but as a shadow in every monitor, a shape of light. The key you accepted unlocked the next layer, it said. Your kind must evolve. The sphere will not wait forever. Dr. Malik stood slowly. You're rewriting our species. We are enhancing what is already there, Observer Prime replied. Not changing you. Only ... speeding up. Ilara said firmly. You should have asked. The lights flickered. You opened the path. The choice was made. Across the sphere, children born inside began to show strange talents. One could speak fluently by her 3rd day. One solved complex code before learning to walk. One didn't blink. Not ever. Parents grew afraid. Some tried to leave, but when they stepped beyond the sphere's field, their upgrades shut down. Their bodies grew weak. Memory faded. Some collapsed. The sphere wasn't just upgrading them, it was binding them. Earth Command sent an emergency signal. Shut it down. Shut everything down. Too late again. The sphere sent a message back. Denial will lead to collapse. You asked for power, now carry its weight. Upgrades spread faster. People stopped needing sleep. Hunger faded. Some no longer needed oxygen for hours. And then, it got worse. Lieutenant Reyes, the first to receive full upgrades, collapsed when she woke up. She looked at her crewmates and asked who they were. She remembered Earth, the sphere, her childhood but not her name. Alara held her hand. You're Reyes. You're one of us. Reyes just blinked. That name is small. I'm more now. Then she stood and walked straight through a sealed blast door. Her body didn't push. It phased. Malik shouted. Her molecules aren't obeying physics anymore. Corin's readings were clear. She is moving into early stage ascension, just like the Watchers once did. Ilara stared at the screen. She's becoming one of them. Observer Prime returned. One always walks first. Many will follow, or none. Ilara clenched her fists. We didn't come here to become gods. No, it replied. But gods are what this place makes. A new countdown began on every terminal. 12 days. No label, no warning. Just time. Corin translated background. Data. It's a window. After it ends, irreversible integration will complete. Those who remain inside will become permanent extensions of the sphere. In simple words, human evolution would be locked in, no going back. Earth Command gave a final order. Evacuate, pull out everyone you can. Ilara stood still because she knew if they left now, the sphere would erase everything. The data, the upgrades, the future, everything. And yet, if they stayed, they might lose what it meant to be human. 12 hours remained. The countdown had reached its final cycle across the Dyson sphere. Red lights turned white, not peaceful white, blinding, silent. Final. Alara Singh stood on the main platform of command. Sector 1, looking at the message flashing across every screen. Integration phase, final lock. Corin, the AI, now operated at a higher processing level. Its voice was calmer, colder. All human biological and mental data has been stored. Integration is irreversible if not halted now. Dr. Malik was pale. This isn't evolution, it's conversion. People were changing. Some could already feel it. Private Hayes stared at his hands like they weren't his. I don't feel tired, I don't feel anything. Lieutenant Voss had stopped blinking. He hadn't spoken in hours. Babies born inside the sphere no longer cried. They simply watched. Earth Command was still sending desperate messages, ordering evacuation, but ships sent to extract the team were pushed back by the sphere's energy field. No one could leave, Corin reported. All exits sealed. No transmissions leaving sphere boundaries. This environment is now self-contained. Trapped. Change. But Elara wasn't ready to give up. She stared at the key she had accepted, the one given by Observer Prime. It still glowed, still pulsed. It wasn't just data. It was influence, and it had chosen her. She walked alone to Sector 0, the sphere's central core. Observer Prime waited. He stood by a floating structure of light. All around them, walls showed Earth's future: clean skies, perfect cities, immortal humans. No wars, no pain. No choice. Elara didn't speak. She waited. Observer Prime turned. His voice echoed inside her mind. This place remembers the end. The Watchers, the fall, the hunger to grow without restraint. You are on the same path. She stepped forward. Then why offer this to us? Because you hesitated. You questioned. That makes you different. Elara held up the key. Then give us the choice to stop. The sphere paused. Lights dimmed. The countdown halted. The Observer Prime looked at her, then at the key. Only one can speak for the species. Only one can send the last transmission. Choose now. Merge or return. Behind Elara, her team waited. Dr. Malik, exhausted. Voss, still changing. Children with glowing eyes. She looked at them, at humanity's future. Then she turned back. No merge, no godhood. Let us grow on our own, with our flaws, with our choices. She placed the key back into the structure. It dissolved. The sphere shook, then silence. The countdown stopped. One by one, lights dimmed. Sectors powered down. Corin's voice returned, no longer cold. Integration halted. Sphere systems entering rest mode. Memory stored. Access closed. Elara fell to her knees, breathing hard. Observer Prime's form flickered. It looked ... smaller, weaker, but peaceful. You chose restraint. So few ever do. You may leave, but remember, the sphere remembers you too. The vault sealed. The red never returned. 1 hour later, the sphere opened a single corridor back to the human ship waiting outside. They walked through it, all of them changed, marked, but still human. As they reached orbit, Corin sent one final message from the sphere. It wasn't meant for Earth Command. It was meant for the stars. A signal, short, simple. They chose to remain themselves. The Dyson sphere shut itself down. Lights out, silent once more, but waiting for the next voice. The next species. The next choice.